Thanks for joining me on Business Questions again today. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, then please do below. It means such a lot to us and helps us grow with the YouTube algorithm. So please do that. My guest today is Peter Ryding, who's an award-winning CEO who's worked with FTSE and Fortune 100 companies, and has set up a new company called Vic, which is helping other companies learn and trade. Peter, perhaps you'd like to explain all about Vic to us.
Yeah, sure. Well, the whole concept of Vic goes back many years. I was both a turnaround chief executive, rescuing companies from the edge of bankruptcy, and I was also one of the first master coaches and mentors in Europe. I qualified in 1998. And so in parallel, I was doing those two things. And one of the companies I was asked to rescue from bankruptcy was John Cleese's business, Video Art International. It was the biggest training company in the world, but it invested in some dodgy e-learning and it wasn't working. So I was parachuted in to rescue it. And we ended up meeting in Las Vegas where John was doing a gig. And out of that came this discussion about training's brilliant, but coaching is even better. The problem with coaching is people like me are expensive and you can't afford to give a human coach to every employee. So it tends to be only for the bosses. So the concept evolved, well, somehow if you could find a way of using technology like AI, machine learning and other clever tech to take the human coach out of coaching, you could then deliver some sort of what we called e-coaching or emulated coaching at a fraction of traditional costs, and therefore give it to every single employee. Now, out of that, we realized we needed to think very big. And so I came up with this big, hairy, audacious goal. You know, we all know that's good things, especially for small business leaders. And my big, hairy, audacious goal was to help 20 million people across 20 countries learn, achieve, and celebrate more success with less stress. And I didn't quite know how I would do it, but Vic has turned out to be the answer. So Vic is a fully functioning e-learning system with over 600-700 different topics in, like how to be a better leader, how to manage underperformance, how to inspire your people remotely, how to sell more, and everything that I've learned in my career and from lots of other people. We put it into this system and we've then layered on top of that artificial intelligence and other technologies, which gives an experience that you can talk into any device. So you can literally get your phone out of your pocket, ask a question into your phone, and 2 seconds later, the phone goes ping and you've got an answer. You can WhatsApp the message. You can phone Vic and just talk into an answering machine, and 2 seconds later, you get an answer. And so that's what Vic is all about. And we give it to free for families of any employee who's got a paid membership. And also our clients can pick charities of their choice and we then give Vic to those charities for free, which adds more value to them. And it helps us achieve our goal of reaching 20 million people across 20 countries sooner. And, you know, it's a real disruptor in the world of learning, because there have always been companies that diagnose things like psychometrics and personality type tests. There've always been learning management systems, but no one's combined the two before. And so by doing that, it means if you do a personality test within Vic, which comes free as part of the service, if it then says, look, you're a logic driver, when you come across a relationship guardian, you're likely to bounce off each other. So what you have to do is you need to be better at small talk, for example. And then the word small talk is what we call one-clickology linked. So you just click the word small talk and up pops a video showing you how to do small talk. If it says you might be seen as impatient, you click the word and up pops a video on how to be seen as less patient. So it's one of the design principles is you have to be able to discover something 1 minute and apply it the next. It has to be proven to work in the real world. It has to be practical. It has to drive productivity, not just a nice to have. And so all of those things together, it is completely ripping the market apart. And we're delighted with the response we've got. You know, we've got big global clients like HomeServe PLC, a FTSE 100 company. And equally, we've got small SMEs where you've got just a very small group of people, but they have got access to world-class training and coaching 24/7. And you know, Vic, you don't have to book a session with Vic. Vic doesn't have any other clients. He's sorry, I've got to leave now because I've got another commitment. You know, Vic is there dedicated for every single member. So we're delighted how it's being received. And it's, you know, we are on our way to help 20 million people across 20 countries.
Oh, this sounds absolutely brilliant. It's something, you know, which, well, I'm trying to obviously help people as well with business questions. So, you know, get out of or give them the knowledge that they don't know. You're obviously far more funded than I am, and you're far more advanced and far more knowledge, which is absolutely, you know, amazing. And, you know, I'd love to help promote Vic, because that's
wonderful.
What business questions. We're just here to, yeah, try and help others, you know, grow their business, be successful. So
Sure.
you had Vic. I mean, let's talk about the business side, if you don't mind. What was the development phase? Must have been quite it's a long process. You've got 700, you know, pieces of content information. How long does it take to get to that stage?
Well, in fact, we've got thousands. There are about 700. Well, there are probably now about 800 different topics. So everything from how to be an inspiring leader, how to manage stress, how to deal with crippling self-limiting beliefs. And I know, you know, I suffer from imposter syndrome. We all do. And as a leader, sometimes we feel we can't show our weaknesses. In fact, that's bang opposite what you should do. You know, you should selectively choose to show you don't think you're a superhero and that you do have some faults. Now, you've got to choose the right ones. You know, a bit like a Formula One racing driver couldn't say I'm not very good on corners. You know, that wouldn't work. But you know, what they could say is, look, I've got a new mobile phone and I can't find the diary or something. Yeah. So I'd encourage all of your listeners to almost purposely develop and laugh at yourself, be seen to be laughing at yourself with minor weaknesses, which shows you're not arrogant. I think strength and humility are two things that some people mistakenly think are opposite ends of a spectrum, and you're one or the other. In fact, real leaders are both. You know, you can be a charismatic presenter, exuding gravitas and inspiring people to put in discretionary effort and to follow you, at the same time as saying, I'm sorry, I got that wrong, please can you give me feedback? Or I'm in a tough situation here, I'm not quite sure the best thing to do, can we have a chat? And that's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of good leadership, where sometimes you're strong and powerful, but not all the time. You know, no one is a Superman.
No, I think actually it shows.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I actually think it shows confidence as a leader, and I do use this analogy, you know, quite often. But as small business owners, we do have a sense of that we know it all and of arrogance. Yet I always have a relation with sport, and you mentioned F1. Well, you know, Lewis Hamilton going around that corner, his, you know, engineer Bono will actually look. Actually, you can get 200ths of a second faster if you do this, or you're braking, you know, half a second too late into this corner. Roger Federer. All the top sports people have coaches still. They're number one in the world. Why, as smaller business people, don't we have mentors or coaches? It seems absolutely, you know, crazy that we don't invest in ourselves when we really should do it. It just sounds that, yeah, perhaps your solution takes away that. I don't know what the word. I'm not going to say embarrassment, but perhaps people are, you know, embarrassed to ask for help. But yours is there on your phone, and instant help, and it takes away perhaps a barrier. A barrier is knocked down, and yeah, a quick question. If you're coming back, you know, within a couple of seconds with an answer to a solution, that's a very powerful tool. Do you have any sort of real life, you know, examples from your clients and how it's benefited them?
Oh, absolutely. Typically, our clients are reporting 5 to 8% productivity improvement. Return on investment is, if you do a hard return on investment on actually cash out, it's round about 90%, which is like 8 times what you'd normally get. But if you look at time saved, it's over 1,000% ROI. And in fact, we guarantee that anyone who signs up as a member will achieve 100% return on investment in just 3 months, or we give their money back. And no one's asking for their money back.
No.
So, you know, I think it's one of those, that's why we are a disruptor, because we've combined the diagnostics and the solution. So there's no other software out there that does those two things. So, and, you know, I think that's why we are just growing so quickly at the moment, all around the world, I'm pleased to say.
And do you have, you know, platform speakers giving, for want of a better word, a TED talk on your platform, say people going to conferences, etc.?
Hey, great idea. I was
Have some
asked to do a
shares,
TED
please.
talk.
I'll have 1% equity, please. That one.
We should have a commercial discussion about this offline. Great idea. Yeah, I was asked to do a TED talk about 15 years ago, and in the end, I was unwell on the day, and I've never got around to doing that again. But yeah, it'd be fantastic to do a TED talk on how Vic is helping people, because most people would assume that if you've got an online automated coaching system, it might be helpful, but it can't really be as good as a human coach. And in some ways it isn't. And yet we got feedback from a client the other day, and they said something like, what was it? They said, I asked Vic for help, and Vic asked me 3 questions which have changed my life. The first question was, who are you? And he said, it took me 2 days to answer that one. Not solid, but he was reflecting on it. The third question was, who do you want to be? And he said that took a week for him to work out before he was happy with the answer. And then the third question is what blew him away, and it's changed his life. And the third question was, who must you stop being so that you can become the person you want to be? Now, he was an ex-finance director who had become a chief executive. He was still acting as a CFO. He was still doing number crunching. He was asking financial questions. He wasn't being the inspiring leader which he needed to be as a CEO. So he worked out in business, he needed to stop being the CFO so that he could become the, forgive me, I don't know if I explained that well. He had been promoted to CEO. That was his job title, but in his head, he was still thinking like a CFO, and he had to stop being a CFO to become a CEO. In his private life, he realized there were some things that he wasn't proud of, and in some sense, he had felt that he'd need to make some family sacrifice to progress his career, but he no longer needed to do that. So he could afford to be less of this hard-nosed, long hours, traveling around the world, in order to be more of a father. So at work, he wanted to be a CEO and stop being the CFO, which might seem trivial, but it wasn't. You know, it took some coaching to help him get there. Eventually, because having discovered that in Vic, he then asked for some coaching. But more importantly, probably at home, he needed to think through how he could become the father to his 2 children, which were growing up very quickly, in a way that he hadn't been so far. And, you know, when I spoke to him, he was in tears about it, because he realized he'd lost so many years of building a meaningful relationship with his 2 kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that was triggered by Vic. So, yes, Vic can give you simple skills, how to close more deals, how to inspire your people, how to get discretionary effort, how to build trust, how to manage someone's underperformance remotely. All that stuff, it's there in videos. You can watch people do it. But I think at a deeper level, it can really trigger, you know, some real life-changing things.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly powerful, you know, questions. And I read, I'm quite late to the party, but the book Start With Why. You know, I think
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant.
bestseller, yeah. And, you know, I sort of perhaps realized that I am the why guy. and I actually need to partner with the how person. I think I need that to actually, have a direction, because I'm all the ideas what I want to do, but I don't necessarily know how to actually achieve those. And that's all quite powerful for me to learn. But Peter, so where can people find out more about Vic?
Well, two things. There is a website called vicyourcoach.com, VicYourCoach, vicyourcoach.com. It's got videos explaining it. It's got testimonials from delighted customers, and it shows how you can take a test drive if you want to. Or, your viewers are very welcome to talk to me. One of the things I run is called the CEO Pathfinder Club, and it's free to join. And it does do networking, but it's about sharing top tips from my career and other people's experience who I've got a lot of time for. And so you can go to the CEOPathfinderClub.com, or just come to me, PeterRyding.com. My name is with a Y, PeterRyding, PeterRyding.com. Just get in touch with me, and I'd be delighted to have a chat to someone. I always learn stuff. Like already, I've learned stuff from you, David. Similarly, I'm sure I will learn stuff from talking to other people. And often, because of my background and my coaching skills, often in a very short amount of time, I can just help someone think something through, or I can introduce you to another CEO who is, got similar challenges or solutions. So any of those would be great. I look forward to hearing from anyone. Or indeed, if it's easy, they can contact me through you, David, whatever's easy for them.
Yeah. Fantastic. We're going to put down all your details on the screen just down here for everyone to see as well, and also in the description and on the website business-questions.com. We're going to leave it there, Peter, because I'm actually going to go and explore Vic a little bit more depth and perhaps have another conversation about it. And we might be doing a video with some screen grabs in there, some videos about Vic in action. I think that'd be really, really useful. Peter, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.
My pleasure.